And welcome in here to Skyridge High School. Our apologies. Working through a couple technical difficulties as it's an 8-2 Lone Peak lead. We'll get that caught up for you here in just a moment. But Dane Stewart, Brandon Stoddard with you. Good start for Lone Peak. Herriman trying to claw back in this one. Talk about young rosters. As this is Fotheringham. He's been great on the start for Lone Peak tonight, but Barclay there able to create the possession, the turnover forced by Kale. Tough left-hand finish, won't go.
That was a good slow step through the lane there, just couldn't get that one to go. You know, Dan, I got all my best stuff out of the way in that first 3 minutes. I don't know what I got after this.
Well, the beautiful thing is that, we had technical issues, so you can still reuse it, Brandon. No one heard it. So our apologies again as we work through some of that. Tough reverse there, won't go. Kept here. Second look there for Dutt, won't go. Lone Peak with a clear.
Juarez with that rebound. I know they like him. His older brother David played for the program a couple years ago, and I like Jorge's game. He's got good feet in there.
Yeah, he was solid last night against Cypress as he turns it over here, gets called for the travel. 4:15 to go here, opening quarter. As this Falcon Classic, we've got games for you today and through Saturday. Championship game at 3:15 on Saturday. Teams from throughout the state. Got some Southern Utah teams coming up for it. Good chance to see kind of north-south battles. Is looking inside. Johnson, that tapped away by Suarez.
Fotheringham gonna... Oh, that's a good finish there by Fotheringham. You know what? For a big guy, he's made some great plays on the break. A good assist. Got a dunk early.
Tell you, he feels like he's got fresh legs considering he played last night. He's been running up and down the floor for Coach Ross. That jumper won't go. Rebounded by the Knights. Kramer leaves it to Ike. Long three. Off the front of the rim.
You know, Ike's going to shoot it. He's going to shoot a lot. He likes to shoot from deep. So it'll be interesting to see if he can convert some of those. Wow, good footwork in there.
Yeah, nice little spin and an important bucket there for Herriman as they're trying to hang around here. What's been a good start for Lone Peak. Staley, that shot won't go.
Ooh, that was a strong move. Just couldn't get that one to finish. Bumped him off. Just couldn't get it to fall.
Barclay. Over with Johnson. Malcolm. He's looking to drive into traffic. Kicks to the corner. Good recovery by Lone Peak defensively. Is that one a foul called here? Be the third team foul on the Knights.
Kind of bailed him out a little bit. Suarez just a little bit out of position. Johnson's going to go to the line here. Or no, this is Ike going to the line. Sorry about that.
$10 for the advantage for Lone Peak. If you're Herriman and you have some youth, what do you feel like has been missing for this offense as they try to find their rhythm here in this early tip?
You know, part of the youth is you also have a freshman who's running your point guard. You know, and so some of that's going to take some time, especially against the type of defense that Lone Peak wants to play. They want to get out, that bulldog, get after you. So with Carlo as a freshman, it's going to take a little bit of getting used to.
Tough three. That one won't go, and a loose ball foul here. Going to go against Lone Peak. Boy, somehow Malcolm Johnson had players in front and behind, and he's the one that draws the foul on the loose ball.
I think they called that one on Fotheringham, and he's going to go after the boards. He's going to get on the board offensively and defensively. He's going to attack and try to give themselves extra possessions and get stops. So, you know, got called for one there, but he's going to keep going.
Mulford comes back on the floor. Gribble on the floor as well here for Herriman. 2:30 to go in our first quarter. Here's Johnson. Worked around, coming around the screen. Carlo. That's a tough runner.
Yeah, he might have got bumped a little bit, but yeah, that's a tough shot.
Fotheringham showing some handles. Kicks to the corner. 3 on the way. Yes. Tyler Amberry hitting the 3 for Lone Peak.
Tyler Amberry. Looks good leaving his hand. That was a big-time find by Fotheringham there.
I'll tell you, Fotheringham, he looks like a different player tonight compared to last night. Not that he was bad last night, but just his athleticism and movement and vision. And man, he is dialed in. Pull up from the line, back of the rim. Amberry with the board.
He looks confident, man. Fotheringham going to the bucket. That's and one. That's been tough. He looks like the most ready guy out here to go get a W, and he's getting after it on both sides of the ball.
Man, he has just been, great game for Luke. Just averages 8 points a game.
He's already there, I think, isn't he? Close?
Yeah, I've got him unofficially with 8.
Yeah, I think he's got 8. This will be 9. 8 and a couple good finds. I mean, he's played really well.
Yeah, he
up
has.
to this point.
Boy, that one, trying the length of the court. Fortunate bounce to Tomsick.
Can't leave him.
Oh,
that little Euro gets it done. Carla Mulford, just a freshman, everybody. This guy is going to be, you're going to hear his name a lot over the next 4 years.
Yes, you are. And another offensive foul as Suarez coming up, and you can see him turn around and say, wait for me. And it's that point you made earlier, Brandon.
Yep, that's 3 moving screens on all 3 offensive fouls so far. 2 on Lone Peak, 1 on Herriman. Again, these guards got to wait on those bigs. It's not always the big on that.
1 minute to go. Worked around.
Can't leave him.
Yep, open in the corner, Mulford. Ooh. Probably fortunate that one didn't go down. Looked good. There's a foul here called, I believe, on Gribble. Yeah, that's going to be number 2 on Hayden.
You know, I'm looking at both of these teams out here, Dane. Do we have a senior on the floor? I don't think you've got a senior on the floor.
Fotheringham is a senior.
Is he? Okay.
But he might be the only one.
Yeah.
Amberry as well.
Amberry's a senior. That's right. His dad will be on me. I know Amberry's dad really well. He'll be on me for not knowing that.
Fotheringham for 3.
Ooh.
Johnson coming up with a rebound, showing his strength there. Here's Mulford. Boy, tough drive in the lane, drawing the contact. And free throws coming up here for Herriman.
You know, Ike reached in. Amberry was actually in great position to take that charge, and Ike ends up reaching in and bailing out Ike Palmer here. So Ike Staley bails out Ike Palmer going to the line here.
Palmer was at the line earlier, went 2 for 2 on the trip. Now 3 for 3 in the contest for Ike. Has one more here. Two for 2 again. 6 points in the quarter for Ike Palmer. Leading scorer for Herriman this season and in this first. 15 seconds to go. Taylor hands that off. Back with Taylor. 4 seconds left. That deflected.
Whoa. Well, 3-man weave get deflected there by Malcolm Johnson in the quarter. Lone Peak looked great that quarter.
They were up and down the floor. The defense locked in. It's why they have a 15-10 lead at the end of the first. You're watching the Falcon Classic on KSLSports.com.
Mountain Land Power Equipment provides exceptional service and high-quality brands you know and trust in lawn, landscaping, and snow removal products. Our experienced staff of technicians repair all types of snow plows, snow blowers, lawn mowers, small engines, and is trained to answer questions about lawn, garden, snow removal, and landscaping products. Mountain Land Power Equipment, now with 2 locations to serve you in Salt Lake City and Springville.
For over 25 years, Salt Lake Running Company has helped people of all ages and levels find the gear they need to start their fitness journey. From a free custom shoe fit analysis to a premium assortment of footwear and workout essentials, SLRC is a top 10 run shop in America. Locally owned, locally operated at 5 locations along the Wasatch Front. SLRC is there to help you gear up and get out. Visit a store near you or shop online at slrc.com.
Welcome back to Skyridge High School, 15-10. Lone Peak leading Herriman. Dane Stewart, Brandon Stoddard with you. Brandon, what'd you see in the first quarter? Any adjustments you think these teams make 8 minutes into the contest?
You know, I really liked getting up and down. I was super impressed with Luke Fotheringham there as it's still Ike Staley going to the bucket and gets picked by Ike Palmer. I really liked Luke Fotheringham that first quarter. He did a lot of good things on the glass, finding teammates, making shots in transition. Really impressed there.
High post here for Herriman. Palmer stepped through again. Ike Palmer continues his fantastic afternoon.
That's a tough finish right there. Little Euro step. He likes that Euro.
Other end. How about the response from Lone Peak? Quick bucket.
Oh, that was tough. Little slide by. He couldn't get that one to go, but that was really good footwork by Carlo there.
Fotheringham sending over. This is best. Up with Staley. Ike the drive. Boy, tries to bring it back to that right hand. Good defense by Palmer as Johnson gets the clear. 3 on the way. Yes. J.J. Thompson hitting the 3 for Herriman as they've brought this back to a one-possession game.
That lefty, it looks good leaving his hand. Ooh, tough shot by Jack.
Yeah.
He's hoping to draw a foul there.
Yeah, he almost looked like he was petitioning for one. As Herriman on the run, Mulford for 3.
Ooh, he got stepped under on that one. That's a tough one.
Fotheringham showing his arm. A little pull out here.
Jackson will shoot it. He will shoot it.
Jackson's first field goal of the afternoon. 20-15 here. Second quarter. Boy, pace picking up here quickly, Brandon.
Yeah. Oh. Johnson right there makes a really aggressive move to the basket. Just can't get it to go, and Fotheringham grabs that board and he fouls him. But, yeah, the pace is getting up and down, and I think both these teams will like to play in that style a little bit.
Lone Peak will have it. 6 minutes to go here in our second quarter. Knights 2-1. Herriman 2-1. Mustangs lost the opener in overtime to a Hillcrest team that can flat out score the rock and have responded well. Wins over Cottonwood and Stansbury since they're trying to make it 3 in a row for Coach Lance Gummersall.
Yeah, you know, I think there were maybe some raised eyebrows after that first loss to Hillcrest, but what we've all seen since then is Hillcrest has got a good squad.
Yeah.
And nothing to hang your head about with Herriman there. But I think there was just some, you know, you're looking at a young team. This is Lance's 4th season, but they're picked to win their league. Whoa, tough shot by Luke Fotheringham again. But, you know, Lance, they're picked to win their league, but you got a young group that's not used to winning. So your first time out, the target's on your back. You know, I'll tell you from experience, it's not always easy when you've got the target on your back.
Staley with the steal and the finish. And you talk about a group that last year, look, they played a lot of youth because they wanted that experience to help the youth get the program to that next step. As you see Ike Palmer with the answer on the other end for Herriman.
Yeah.
And you see flashes of that experience come through where it's like, oh, there it is, right? And then you have those moments where it's like, okay, we're still learning, still growing. As Lone Peak, man, pushing that lead back up to 10. The response by Palmer puts it at 8. Man, frenetic pace.
Yeah, no, and I think you're spot on with last year's group. You give those guys a little experience, but it's going to take some time just to get used to that winning mentality. And honestly, Lone Peak, you don't hear us say it that often, but they're in the same boat a little bit. These are guys that, you know, you're not the Lone Peaks of 10 years ago. These are guys that aren't used to winning at a really super high clip. And plus you're playing in Region 4, which is just brutal.
Yeah.
You know, so I think between both of these squads, they kind of feel similar as far as what they're doing and what they're looking to do over this season. I think it'll be interesting to see how the next few weeks play out as you get ready for region play.
Yeah. Well, we talk about no seniors on the Herriman roster, but, I mean, let's talk about some of the names on Lone Peak. Chamberlain Burgess, sophomore. Isaac Staley, sophomore. Jackson Taylor, sophomore. There's a lot of youth here for Lone Peak. To your point, Brandon, both of these programs are kind of, hey, we might go through some learning pains, but that's going to pay dividends. As right now, I mean, there's one man inflicting pain, and it's Luke Fotheringham.
That was a big-time move. You don't see that very often. He puts the ball down, and he does the jab while he's making his crossover. You can't handle it, especially somebody like his size.
Johnson, boy, tough, drawing the contact there.
One thing, Dane, with Lone Peak, they're playing young, but I got to mention they're missing their leader right now who's sitting out with stress fractures. Cam Swiggett, he's their guy that they feel like when they get him back, they've got a chance to really make some noise. But he's their ball handler, their leader, that I think, man, when they get him back, it changes things for them. But right now you're getting guys with really good experience in the meantime.
Well, he's a multi-year contributor, right? And running that point, and he can score it too.
Yeah.
And so that's a big element. But you're right, he adds another dimension. And if you told Coach Ross they'd be 2-1, potentially 3-1 without him, I think he'd take that as 1 for 2 on the trip to the line here for Johnson.
I can't say enough about Luke Fotheringham. I really like everything I'm seeing from him on both sides, and he plays hard, and he's guarding a big body, but look at him right there. He makes the move to get to the bucket, to be there for that rebound after Jackson Best strokes that from 3.
Second made 3 of the quarter here for Jackson Best. 6'1 senior brought his long range to Skyridge. That answer won't go.
Tomsic, that's what they want him to do. They want him to be ready to shoot it. He's going to shoot a lot of threes when he's in the game. Just couldn't get that one to drop.
Fotheringham will fortunately get that bounce to Kramer. Thompson, the drive, high off the window.
Tough.
Lone Peak creating some separation, and Herriman's going to take a timeout. 32-18. The Knights leading here in the second. You're watching the Falcon Classic on KSLSports.com.
At UCCU, we'll provide you with a low-rate line of credit that makes it easy to access the equity in your home with no fees or closing costs.
Simply complete an application on your phone or computer and select the low-rate option you prefer.
And then sit back and enjoy the peace of mind that comes from knowing you have a low-rate line of credit. Ready for whatever life throws at you.
To learn more or start your application, visit uccu.com or stop by any branch.
Welcome back. 3:58 to go here, first half. 32-18 is, Lone Peak, that offense, Brandon, it has been firing inside, outside. The defense has led to some fast break opportunities. Been a very well-executed first half for Lone Peak.
Yeah, when they got guys making threes, and then you got a guy like Luke Fotheringham that's causing problems at the rim, it makes it really hard for him.
And I like that for Coach Gummersall. Hey, let's get back to the rim, back to our money man in Ike Palmer, and let him go to work. And he's got the rebound here.
Yep. Ooh. That's
Boy, good find.
Yeah. Ooh, tough.
You know what I love about that play? I mean, you've got a youngster in Mulford in the corner. He's taken a couple threes. He hasn't hit one yet. Doesn't fall into that freshman, just keep shooting, right? Like, hey, missed a couple. We're going to work this around, get the right shot. And it pays off for Herriman. Back to a 10-point difference. Make it 13.
Is that the third 3, I think, for Jackson Best tonight?
That's correct.
Looks good.
Boy.
Yeah, he's a load at the rim.
Great feel there, huh?
Yeah, he finishes well, both hands at the basket. And give him a delay of game for knocking the ball out of the net.
14 now for Ike Palmer. He's got 14. Fotheringham has 13. We've seen a couple of just fantastic efforts here in this first half for each side. Kramer, saw that lane open up and then just lost it.
I think looks like somebody might have got a hand on it, but that was Herriman will take all they can get right now. They're struggling to get stops.
This ball loose, and now we'll get the whistle, the call there. That'll be Lone Peak basketball. A foul called on Herriman. Coach Gummersall wanted an explanation.
Don't know that I love that. I thought it was just good effort. Everybody had 3 dudes on the floor getting after it. I don't know that I love a foul call there, but they gave that one to Malcolm Johnson.
And Coach Gummersall just got a coaching box warning. And the irony is he's pointing to the other bench like, are we going to be consistent with this? And
interesting,
indeed,
the coaching box is tighter than where they're actually sitting on the floor.
And their chairs are outside the actual box.
Yeah. Makes it a tough adventure for these coaches here. But
I think that's the first time I've seen that in a good couple of years. I'll tell you that. Usually there's a lot of leniency with that. As now at the table, we're getting things kind of resettled here. Coach Gummersall still just kind of shaking his head. Lone Peak basketball, 2:31 to go here in the first half.
Having to explain the coaches' boxes out here.
That tells you how frequently we watch that, right?
Yeah.
And the coaches did indeed shift on the Lone Peak bench. And they're all chuckling about it.
Probably a good move.
Staley, the long 3.
Yep.
Too strong.
Good finish good board by Amberry. Jackson Best has been stroking.
That's his first miss, I think, from long range tonight.
3
Johnson
for 4.
with the board.
Yep.
Here's Palmer.
Wow, that's tough, man. That's a tough take to the basket. Just couldn't get that one to go.
Staley up the floor quickly.
Ooh.
And Palmer's racing back. You don't blame him. But the right call there, the goaltending.
Palmer has a great feel around the rim. He just finds ways to get there and finish. Couldn't get the last one to go and hustles back, gets that goaltend.
And how many times has it been that, right, where it's like he's got the pivot, he's kind of feeling, and then he just knows, boom, there's my lane. And the quick move to the rim is now we've got the technical being given to Herriman. So I think this is a bench technical. That seemed to be the indication.
Looked like they gave that one to Gummersall. Obviously still frustrated about that loose ball foul. Puts these guys in a tough spot, down 13 with a couple of minutes left in the half here.
Well, and even the last challenge on that last possession by Lone Peak down, in the block, wondering if he maybe was petitioning for a whistle down there, and he's not even going to get much of an explanation or discussion here on this one. And so the free throws here, it'll be Jackson Best to shoot the technical, makes the first. 10 points now for Best. Makes them both. Lone Peak basketball. Inside of 2 to go here. First half. 15-point lead. In the lane, contact there on the drive by Kramer, and it's Mulford going to pick up the foul.
If you're Herriman, you're a little bit frustrated because I think they got a little bit of contact on that last take down there by Ike Palmer with no call, and then they get this one. But that's the nature of this, especially after you get a technical foul, puts you guys in a tough spot here. You got to get this thing to within 10 before the half, or, that's going to be a tough coming out of the second half, down double digits. It's a tough one to mount a comeback there.
Well, and this is where, you'd love to turn to an experienced leader, right, and be like, hey, we're going to go to this guy. But when you talk about developing, who's going to be that guy for Herriman?
Yeah, I think we've seen Ike. Ike Palmer's a guy that makes the right play. He threw it a little bit airmail on that one, but you got to run through Ike right now. But everybody on Herriman's side looks a little frustrated, a little flustered here. And if you let this one get to 20 before the half ends, this is going to be put you in a really tough spot.
And the difference in this first half, 5 made threes for Lone Peak, just 1 for Herriman.
Yep.
And miscommunication there. We'll give it back to the Mustangs. One of the rare miscues from Lone Peak in this first half.
One thing I'm a little surprised by is Ike Staley struggled offensively a little bit. Now, obviously, Luke Fotheringham's picked that up and scored a lot more than he's been averaging, but Ike looks a little bit out of sync so far in this first half offensively.
That's a great pass inside to Johnson, able to go up strong. And, boy, good finish. Much needed points there for Herriman. Oh, Staley.
Oh, good finish.
Wicked step through for Ike.
I think he heard me up here. That was a great Euro step through.
Here is Palmer.
Barkley, ooh.
Oh. How's that for a setup? Nice move there by Barkley. His first point since the first quarter. 30 seconds to go here in the half. Kramer.
Finished by Tom Kramer in there.
Boy, there's even help defensively, and that still didn't shy Thompson Kramer from the drive. Ten seconds left here in the second.
Let's see, they're going to run through Ike. Here we go.
Long
Deep
three.
Ooh.
Won't go, and that'll do it. First half. How about the start for Lone Peak? 45-28, they lead Herriman at the break. You're watching the Falcon Classic live on KSLSports.com.
It all starts with a smile. To show you care, offer a sign of love, welcome someone home. Even when we don't see each other, or share a room, even without words, smiles bring us together. Let's keep yours healthy. Stonehaven Dental. Schedule online at stonehavendental.com.
Welcome back. Getting ready to start half number 2. Kickoff game of the Falcon Classic. Lone Peak leading Herriman 45-28. Dane Stewart, Brandon Stoddard with you. Couple good headlines in that first half. Luke Fotheringham, 13 points to lead the way for Lone Peak. Jackson Best had 11. 3 of 4 from beyond the arc shooting for the senior guard. Meanwhile, Ike Palmer, 14 of the 28 coming from this man right here, number 13. Brandon, when you look at this first half and start of the second half, if you're Herriman, what do you try to do to get back in this game?
I think Ike Palmer's going to do his thing, but I think you want to get Carla Mulford going, and Barkley inside's got to make it work. That's a pretty tough shot by him. Lone Peak, interesting, went to a zone here to start that second half, and they're looking to take Ike Palmer away and give him multiple looks here, it looks like.
Boy, I was kind of surprised you have Barkley, and he's kind of banging down there and backing down and then settle for that fadeaway. It's like, man, go right up at it. Yeah. But other end, the foul called there on Palmer, and it will be free throws here for Kramer.
Last time Barkley had it inside, he made that really nice step through, and would have been another good opportunity for that move. But he looked comfortable shooting. It was just a little short there. I'd like to see him be more aggressive going to the basket.
1 for 2 on the trip.
Lone Peak back in that zone in the 2-3. Barkley again inside. See, tough.
There you go.
Yep. Really, really good feet there.
And I do like that. That attempt, you're going right at it, right? You find that little hole on the baseline.
I mean, he's a sophomore, too. I really like. Oh, that's got to go. Yep. That's a really good move for a sophomore.
How about the junior, Malcolm Johnson, drawing the offensive foul there? Fotheringham picking up his second foul. All right, I got to ask you, Brandon. Spent some time on the Lone Peak bench back in your day. How do you feel about the jerseys, the peak across the chest? You like that?
I didn't even know that it said it, to be honest. I can barely read it. No, that was one of the things that was always fun for the guys. We built that program. You get different jerseys every year that Nike kind of got to choose what we did. They wanted us to do different things, and so that was fun every year to get new stuff and new gear and swag. That's a good take there inside. That's Hayden Gribble. That's a really nice finish. But, yeah, no, that kind of stuff's always fun. Yeah, I didn't realize it says the peak. That's those are pretty sweet.
Couple nice defensive possessions here for Herriman. Gribble scored his first points on the last possession. Johnson here from the corner. That was too strong.
If you're Lone Peak, I think you want to find ways to get Ike Staley going a little bit. Well, if you're shooting the ball the way they are, I don't think it matters. But Ike Staley looks a little uncomfortable. I'd like to find ways to get him going out here in the second half.
One and done for Herriman. Lone Peak up the floor quickly. Here is your guy, Staley, off the front of the rim. And the board cleared there by Palmer.
You know what I really like there is Fotheringham made the right play. He had an opportunity to penetrate there, and he turns around and kicks it out for a good look from Staley, just couldn't get it to go. I've really been impressed with Luke Fotheringham, and again, on the floor here getting after that. They do call a kick ball, but I feel like he's been out there every facet of the game getting after it.
Yeah. I know the season's early, and I haven't seen every Lone Peak game. I obviously saw the one last night. Small sample size, but I dare say one of his better games of the early part of this year.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if he's averaging 8 points, I think at least offensively, I really like what I'm seeing. He's aggressive. He's got a good feel, but he's also making the right play. It's not just me first. It's looking for what's going to help his teammates and get a bucket.
Still in that zone here are the Knights.
Ooh, that's good action there by Herriman to get that finish inside on that zone.
Pair of buckets for Gribble here in this third quarter. Foul under the basket here. Going to be called. Is that going to be on Burgess?
Yeah.
Haven't seen a lot of minutes from Burgess tonight. That is third personal. Missed most of the first half with 2 personal fouls, and we'll see how aggressive Coach Ross will be here. And the answer is he will not be. Yeah. Burgess going to come off.
I mean, it's nice, though, that they feel comfortable going to Suarez. They're not afraid to put him in a game and give him minutes. So if you get, Chamberlain Burgess, just a sophomore, you get him in foul trouble, you feel good about going to Suarez.
In the corner. That 3 off the back of the rim and last touched by Herriman. It'll go to Lone Peak. And you have to if you're Coach Ross, you got to love the response from your group. You come off, first loss of the year. You come out like this, and this is a Herriman team that coaches picked to be the Region 3 favorite. So there are expectations around this Herriman program, and to play the way they have, it's a great response for the Knights. Is fouled here after the ball was away. It'll be 3 free throws here for Luke.
We talked earlier that these guys, this group isn't used to winning at the clip that maybe they have in the past, but there's still an expectation at Lone Peak to win. And so you've got guys that have had brothers that play, that have dads that have been professional athletes. Luke Fotheringham right here, his brother Cole, tight end at Utah. You got families and kids that are used to being around winning things. And so, it carries through. You lose last night, and that's tough, but come back and bounce back. They look really good today.
One more here for Luke. Want to remind you, we've got a good one coming up next. Dixie and Farmington will be our second game. As Fotheringham to the line makes all 3. 16 for Luke tonight. Palmer, help on that step through from Suarez.
That's a tough find by Palmer. I like that. Ooh.
I think Fotheringham. Oh, I thought they were going to call Fotheringham, and instead they call Burton. His first. 4.5 to go here, third quarter. Johnson sends to the corner. Gribble the 3. Yes, Hayden Gribble.
You might have that could have been an and one out there. They throw it up. Juarez can't handle it. That could have been an and one on that 3, but let that one go. Herriman's trying to make a game of this.
I was going to say, as well as Lone Peak played in that first half, we've seen some turnovers, some forced shots, and Herriman's been getting some stops on the defensive end. Here's Johnson. Inside.
Ooh.
Well, I thought maybe some contact there.
A little bit of contact, but, I like that. Staley's defending Barkley there, and he played him tough and got the stop.
Staley sends that out. Kramer around the screen. Ike, another long 3. Yeah. Staley hits it. His first made 3 of the night. Ike now unofficially with 11. Mulford going spin move, drawing the contact.
That's a tough play. I'm actually surprised to hear Ike's got 11. I feel like he's just been a little bit out of sync, but that just shows you the type of player that he is. It's really quiet, and he just goes about his business. He's been playing hard. It just hasn't felt natural offensively, but he's at 11, halfway through the third quarter. It's going to end up looking like an average night for Ike.
And I think some of that is that he's missed a couple shots that you're accustomed to him making, right?
Yep.
So then it feels like, he's not playing at his normal clip, and he's still been productive. His first free throw there for Carlo. He's got one more here.
I think
we've got a timeout here taken by Coach Ross as Herriman was throwing a little bit of pressure the way of the Knights.
Yeah, I think they probably saw a little bit like what Cypress got after him with. Cedar Valley got after the Knights a little bit earlier in the year with some pressure full court. And let's see how Lone Peak responds, because it's been something that I guarantee you they're having to address in practices right now, because teams are seeing that and seeing that they're getting a little bit of success out of that.
Want to remind you, the Sky Ridge Tournament opening day here at Skyridge High School. Mention that next game, Dixie Farmington. That will be a good one. Skyridge Crimson Cliffs. That's going to be fun. And I'll tell you, a game that I can't wait for is to see the Alta Hawks. A lot of people think they're the favorite in 5A. They'll take on Copper Hills in the nightcap. 4 great games to get this tournament underway. We'll have action Friday and Saturday for you right here on KSLSports.com. Herriman's keeping with that pressure here.
You know, it's a luxury to have a guy like Fotheringham that's big, but that can handle a little bit of that and make good decisions. That's, you know, helps him get that ball up the court.
Fotheringham, boy, a little slow coming off that screen and set up the lane, and then the loose ball foul here going to be called on Lone Peak.
You know he's going to have his friends over there telling him to just dunk that.
Yeah.
He had a lane to the bucket. He's got to go up strong. It was a little light on that one and couldn't get it to go.
And that's the third on Luke. He'll stay on the floor here. Mulford, boy, tough pull up there just inside the junction.
You know, he's had a couple of those that look really good, and they haven't dropped.
Yeah. Yeah, just 4 points tonight for Carlo Mulford. Averaging 13 coming into the game tonight.
You know, and that's some of the stuff you get, Jack Taylor from deep. That's some of the stuff you get dealing with a freshman. He's going to go through some games where he's going to look really good, and he's going to have you 15 or 20, and then he's going to look like, you know, a freshman. And he's going to come out here and
the other thing about this Lone Peak group, I mean, they got some length, right? I mean, you look across the roster, they got plenty of guys 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", 6'6".
Well, and they follow their coach, and their Rob Ross has got that bulldog mentality. He wants those guards that will get up in you and get after you defensively, and that's making it hard for them. So you've seen a little bit of that with a little bit of frantic play right here.
Yeah. And we have a carrying violation here, I think.
Yeah, I don't think Juarez is the guy that Rob Ross wants bringing the ball up against that press.
You know, and Herriman fans were here clamoring for the 5-second call. It was close to an inbound violation. They really didn't have a lot of other choice, but it feels like Herriman's starting to speed up Lone Peak here a little bit, making them uncomfortable.
Yeah, a little bit of chaos. I think that was a quick seat for Juarez. I don't think they were super happy with that decision, but yeah, I think Herriman's getting. Oof.
That shot from Palmer won't go. Tapped out, and it'll go back to Lone Peak.
Man, he's got a good feel around the basket.
Yeah,
the
he
footwork
does.
and everything didn't get that one to go.
So Lone Peak to inbound again. 2 minutes to go here in the third. 14-point contest.
Ooh.
Oh, boy.
It looks a little scary.
Yeah, and there's a traveling violation. That pressure again here causing issues for Lone Peak. Timeout as they want to try to settle things down here. We'll be back. You're watching the Falcon Classic on KSLSports.com.
For over 25 years, Salt Lake Running Company has helped people of all ages and levels find the gear they need to start their fitness journey.
Well,
From a
down
free
14,
custom shoe fit analysis to a premium assortment of footwear and workout essentials, SLRC is a top 10 run shop in America. Locally owned, locally operated, at 5 locations along the Wasatch Front. SLRC is there to help you gear up and get out. Visit a store near you or shop online at slrc.com.
Mountain Land Power Equipment provides exceptional service and high-quality brands you know and trust in lawn, landscaping, and snow removal products. Our experienced staff of technicians repair all types of snow plows, snow blowers, lawn mowers, small engines, and is trained to answer questions about lawn, garden, snow removal, and landscaping products. Mountain Land Power Equipment, now with 2 locations to serve you in Salt Lake City and Springville.
Welcome back. 1:56 to go here, third quarter. 55-41 was a 20-plus point lead for Lone Peak. Herriman's been able to kind of reel them back in. The pressure has caused some issues. As we'll see if Coach Ross can help settle his troops down here.
Yeah, if you're Lone Peak, you're looking for who's going to be your calming influence out here. Somebody's got to get these guys together and let them know that, you're all right. You're up 14 points. Let's just go make the right basketball play.
I'll tell you the one thing about Herriman is they haven't been searching for points. We haven't seen a lot of jack threes or rush shots. It's been very, hey, we're going to get the right shot, the look we want.
Yeah, they've missed a couple threes that I think if you asked them that they would expect to go down. But, yeah, for the most part, they're getting good looks. That one might not be your favorite, but you're getting good looks offensively.
Johnson was warming up from long range coming out of the half, but that time his momentum kind of carried him away. I love Mulford here sensing, hey, I'm going to get to the rack and get back to the line. He went 2 for 2 on his last trip.
Yep.
Young man, 76% from beyond the arc on the season. Ooh. Missed the first there.
I know that's not going to go over well at the Mulford home, that missed free throw on the front right there.
Ooh, that one rattled out.
There's going to be some late nights for Carlo.
Yeah, I was going to say, rare 0 for trip there. 90 seconds left here in this third quarter. Here's Kramer. Now Staley has that knocked loose. Ike v. Ike here.
Yeah. Ooh. Tough footwork.
Good ball movement. Best from the corner.
That's who you want to find. 4 for 5 tonight.
Yeah, he's been dialed in from long range. Palmer pull up baseline short.
That's a really good look. He'll finish that one more often than not. Tough shot, but now you get beat in transition. After having momentum coming out of that last timeout, and now you're back sitting looking at 20 again.
Yeah, quick 5 points as Mulford. Nice take there. Good response from the freshman. Fotheringham.
Had a really good opportunity on a charge, and Gribble didn't quite get there.
How about the help by Staley? Fotheringham. All blocked away. Gribble got back for Herriman. Mulford.
Ooh. That is a big shot. Big shot for Herriman to end that quarter. Big shot.
He's got a brother who's taught him well. 62-46, Lone Peak leading Herriman. We've got the fourth quarter coming up next here on KSLSports.com.
At UCCU, we'll provide you with a low-rate line of credit that makes it easy to access the equity in your home with no fees or closing costs.
Simply complete an application on your phone or computer and select the low-rate option you prefer.
And then sit back and enjoy the peace of mind that comes from knowing you have a low-rate line of credit. Ready for whatever life throws at you.
To learn more or start your application, visit uccu.com or stop by any branch.
It all starts with a smile. To show you care, offer a sign of love, welcome someone home. Even when we don't see each other, or share a room, even without words, smiles bring us together. Let's keep yours healthy. Stonehaven Dental. Schedule online at stonehavendental.com.
Welcome back. 62-46. Start of the fourth. And we got a quick whistle here to start the fourth quarter.
Yeah, they run a down screen action there, and Gribble was holding them off of that screen.
Lone Peak to inbound. Staley.
That was a little bit of a quick.
Yeah, gives Herriman a run out here. Palmer the other way.
Tough. That was a pretty quick pull from Staley there. Leads to a run out, and Palmer's not the guy you want to see trying to finish against in transition.
Fotheringham to the rim. Luke, I think unofficially 20 points.
He's looked the part. Today.
Mulford, little hesitation
little
there. Boy, tough find. And fouled here on the attempt.
Dang.
Fouls have been adding up for Lone Peak. That's going to be the 8th team foul on the night. So it'll be free throws the rest of the way here for Herriman. So 2 free throws here for Palmer.
You know, I don't think Herriman presses often, and I'm curious to see how much energy this is going to take out of them, if they're going to have it left in the tank. A lot of hands on hips right here, and guys that are a little worn out.
And that's the thing. I mean, we saw this game open up in the second, up and down the floor. And to your point, you have the stamina this early on in the year to be able to pull one out late.
Oof.
Inside.
You know, Amberry airmailed that a little bit.
Yeah. Here's Mulford. Looking in with Barclay. Really haven't seen a lot of him in the second half. Sends out for Palmer.
Ooh.
Boy, it's a good steal by Gribble.
Yep. A lot of good stuff. He just off his fingertips.
Yeah.
The look was right by Ike. Gribble had him sealed and just couldn't get that one to go.
Oh, boy. Yeah. Johnson here. Felt like maybe got caught in between. Does he go for the basketball? Does he not? And the body contact there gets whistled. Fourth-team foul on Herriman. Fotheringham driving, hanging, and hitting.
Yep. Yeah, that was tough. He was up over the top. Ike Palmer's not liking the call, but Luke was over the top of him, and he just couldn't get up enough to finish that.
At the line, off the back of the rim. Quickly up the floor, Johnson sends back out. Palmer. And a blocking foul here, going to be the call.
Yep.
Kramer tried to draw the charge, not in position.
Right idea. I'm not sure I would like to draw a charge on Ike Palmer, but the right idea there. Just a little bit, sliding a little bit, trying to get there, and couldn't wrap up the play. Ike's going to go shoot 2. He's been impressive today to me. I really like what I've seen with him.
I've got him unofficially with 18. As they call this on the shot, and that the 9th team foul. This will be 2 because it's on the shot, and it will be 2 the rest of the way for Herriman.
Haven't seen any coaching box violations here this half.
I'll tell you, Lance has been seated. He's done a good job of, I'm sure, resisting the urge to stand.
Yeah. I'm going to give my brother, Justin Stoddard, the credit over there on the bench for keeping Lance quiet in the second half.
That was a moment, I'll tell you what. Herriman getting the quick stop defensively. Got to turn it into points.
Ooh.
I think a good no call there.
Yeah, a little bit of a flop.
That three won't go on the try from Barclay. Fotheringham to the
Amberry
corner.
Can shoot it. That's not who I want to leave.
You called it. Amberry, his second three of the night.
I don't think he gets that from his dad. I'm just throwing that out there. A good take by Ike Palmer on that three.
Ike is lighting it up here tonight for Herriman. He's been a bright spot offensively. As a quick timeout taken here, 5.5 to go. We'll be back. You're watching the Falcon Classic on KSLSports.com.
It all starts with a smile. To show you care, offer a sign of love, welcome someone home. Even when we don't see each other, or share a room, even without words, smiles bring us together. Let's keep yours healthy. Stonehaven Dental. Schedule online at stonehavendental.com.
At UCCU, we'll provide you with a low-rate line of credit that makes it easy to access the equity in your home with no fees or closing costs.
Simply complete an application on your phone or computer and select the low rate option you prefer.
And then sit back and enjoy the peace of mind that comes from knowing you have a low rate line of credit. Ready for whatever life throws at you.
To learn more or start your application, visit uccu.com or stop by any branch.
$5:39 to go here, 69-55. Lone Peak out in front. Ike Palmer, I'm trying to do quick math in my head, 23 points, I believe, to lead the way for Herriman. See if they can
Good
get a
look
couple.
ahead. Amberry, really quick to get back up there and finish that by Amberry. Like that. Good look ahead for Lone Peak to finish against this press.
And an offensive foul. Boy, they call Mulford here. I thought they might have called Palmer. It almost looked like that forearm kind of extended a little bit, but it is on Carlo.
Yeah, I don't know that I love that call. Mulford just a little V cut to get open, extended a little bit of a wing, but the guy was on his arm.
That's number 4 on Carlo tonight. Here's another three.
Jackson Best.
I mean, he has had a quiet, solid game. And by quiet, he's got 17.
Yeah, that's not very quiet. That's like 5 threes.
Yes, it is.
He's been shooting the crap out of it. I think he missed one.
Yeah.
5 for 6.
And my thing is, it's like, if I think about this Lone Peak effort tonight, I'm thinking about Fotheringham, right? I'm thinking about Ike. Jackson Best probably isn't the top of the list for me.
No.
But it should be.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm like, the quiet, because it's been a fantastic night for him.
Jeez, he's that was a big shot too. It feels like anytime Herriman's made a little bit of a push, Lone Peak's answered, and it hasn't always been pretty because it's been a little bit chaotic with this press, and that's what they want to do is speed you up, but you just got to answer. You just got to keep answering the bell, and they've done that. I've been impressed with the Knights tonight.
Because, I mean, we mentioned it off the air as a pull-up there for Burgess. Good for him. He has not had a lot of time tonight. The fouls have kind of hampered his effectiveness, but he gets a nice bucket there. But we talked about in the third, it felt like the Mustang was starting to slide the way of Herriman, and yet, to your point, Brandon, the Knights have just always been able to answer the call.
Yeah, we talk about Jackson being quiet, but I think if you look at Carla Mulford's stat line at the end of the night, and you're going to say, what happened? Jackson Best is what happened. Jackson Best has done a great job defensively. Wow, another three. Jackson Best has done a great job defensively on Mulford, hounding them up and down the floor consistently. And then he's just shooting the stuffing out of the ball. So
Jackson Best going a little maverick, hitting the brakes, let him fly right by, and Boy, he has been dialed in. I'll tell you what, he's going to have a good night when they come here for region play. He likes the friendly confines here of the gymnasium at Skyridge High.
And Barkley's going to step up the line. So you got to look at a couple things if you're Herriman finishing out this game. I mean, likely you're not going to make up 22 points here, but there's still a lot of things to learn from. Lone Peak's a good team. What can we do to prepare ourselves to win a region championship? That's what you got to look for. What things can we do over these next 4 minutes to prepare ourselves to win the region championship? And let's go do those things regardless of what Lone Peak's doing out here.
Foul there. We're going to walk down and shoot, I believe. That seemed to be the indication. Now the official's discussing, but you're exactly right. And look, I love that, Herriman, we've seen them go into some of that full court and try to speed up Lone Peak. And I think it's been effective, although Lone Peak has started to look more and more comfortable with it here as that's gone on. But, there's going to have to be something around, who's going to be your go-to guy, right? We talked about that earlier, and I think Ike has shown that a little bit tonight. But, that consistent execution offensively, that's really probably been the biggest challenge for Herriman tonight is, as Lone Peak would put on a run, Herriman hasn't been able to quite keep up with it and got to find a way to be able to match when you go up against top talent like Lone Peak has.
Dan, I'm not sure exactly what the call is here, but it looks like we're shooting technical foul shots. I'm not sure what happened.
I never saw it. I saw them come over and give a player number indication, but I never saw an official technical be given. Now, I could have just missed it.
Yeah.
But you're right. We're not filling lanes here.
Touching back on Herriman, the name that we mentioned a lot as we got going here was Malcolm Johnson. And it's somebody that they have high expectations for, but I think as this game's gone on, we haven't mentioned him enough. He's got to find a way to make an impact on the game. I think he'll do that by rebounding the basketball.
Yeah.
But I also think he's got to find ways to help this team, because to win the region championship, which is what they want to strive to do, they're going to need what they get out of Malcolm Johnson. They're going to need everything they can get out of him.
I have him unofficially with 7 points, but this is a young man, nearly 50% from the floor, 77% from the line coming into the game tonight, averaging 13 and 8. He has not had that kind of an impact tonight.
Yeah.
But you're right. He can be a matchup problem for opposing teams. And so how do you maximize his effort? And paired with that of Ike Palmer, as we had Burgess shooting the free throws on the one end, and now Herriman down here. Again, I did not see the official indication.
Looked like a double foul maybe. Interesting. Yeah, I want to see more out of Malcolm. I know he's going to have expectations and expect more from himself. The staff will expect more, but I think he can bring this team that 13 and 8, 15 and 8 number, in addition to what Ike Palmer gives you. And then you're going to bring Carlo Mulford along as the season goes. That's a really good core with this.
Well, and because one of the players that we did not mention about Herriman is Hayden Gribble. I mean, you think about the third quarter he had where it was like boom, 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 right? It was kind of Hayden. It's like, man, if you can mix some of that. It goes back to the point, this Herriman roster has a lot of talent on it. And it's just about kind of gelling and finding their rhythm together as a unit and seeing them all take that next step together.
And remember, there's no seniors on this roster. There's not one. Not on the bench. They don't have them. So you're going to lean on some of these guys that their experience is limited, and so you're going to grow with that as the season goes. And I'd expect a lot of good things with this group over the next, 3-4 weeks to grow before you hit the region play. They're going to build together, and again, you've got a freshman point guard.
Yeah,
you can start freshman, but starting a freshman point guard, that's a little bit different.
Boy, a couple misses right at the rim. Third try finally goes down for Malcolm.
He's trying to get to that 15 and 8, all on that one possession. It looked like
almost did it. 3.5 to go here. Oh, La Suarez inside. first points tonight for Jorge.
Looks like Lone Peak's going to bring in some of the bench players right now.
Mulford and traveling violation.
Man, I'm telling you what, Jackson Best has made it really difficult on Mulford today. Mulford struggled right there and lost his footing and whatever, but Jackson Best is with him at every turn. That's tough. I've really been impressed with Jackson Best in this one.
You mentioned substitutions for Lone Peak. Schwartz coming on, Haskett coming on, Pay coming on, all for the first time tonight. There's a pull-up there for Taylor, won't go. The sophomore has struggled from the floor tonight.
Ooh, Schwartz jumps in.
Yeah, able to get it back here for Lone Peak. Taylor the three, there you go.
That's a big shot by Jack. I've known Jack since he was just a little dude. Me and his dad go back quite a ways. His dad played Lone Peak 2002 under Ryan Cuff as state champs in that year, Landon Taylor. And Jack's got a good one. He loves the game. I know that. He puts in quite a bit of work. I'm excited for Jack to see what the next couple of years look like.
I was talking with a staffer at Lone Peak in preparation for that Cypress game yesterday. They said Jack, he's got the opportunity to be one of the better one of the better shooters that we've seen at Lone Peak in quite some time.
There's been a lot of shooters.
Well,
so that's a thing.
Here's the thing. They did not define that time. So is that like going back to your era? Is that like in history of the program?
Yeah.
I did not pursue that much. I was like, really?
Yeah.
And to your point, like there's some pretty big names that have come through the pedigree that is Lone Peak.
No, you know what? Jack puts in the work, though. He does. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see what he can do over these next couple of years. Lone Peak, we talked about Herriman being such a young roster, but, man, Lone Peak, Fotheringham's been great, obviously, and he's a senior, but you look at Jackson Best, just a junior.
Yeah.
I think he might be a senior.
He is a senior.
Ah, dang. I was thinking he was a junior, but, outside of that, you got Ike Staley, you got Chamberlain,
Thompson Kramer, he's played a lot of minutes tonight. He's a junior.
Yeah, and then you've got Jack. I know Schwartz. I've seen him around quite a bit. He's got a Lone Peak name. Brothers, uncles have played at Lone Peak, and so you've got guys. Ooh, good find, Jack.
Oh,
Page couldn't finish that one.
Love that play though.
Yep.
Tomsic, this ball worked over. Here's Blanchard, and that one turned over. Blanchard, that's a familiar name here in the state of Utah.
Yep, his dad Andrew was coached around the state, multiple places. Most recently, I think Copper Hills for quite a while, but now he's actually administration at Herriman. So his boy Stockton's here at Herriman High and playing for Lance. Pay gets that bucket. Look, you like to see those boys excited for Pay.
Yeah, how about the cheering that rung through the arena here? We'll have Andrew Blanchard. He's actually going to join us for the last couple games tonight. So excited to hear from old coach, now vice principal. It's a good follow there. So Lone Peak looking as though they'll advance. They'll advance and play tomorrow night. That game will be at 8:10 p.m. You can see that right here on KSLSports.com. They will play the winner of our next matchup, that being Dixie and Farmington. We'll have some big-time players on the floor in that one as well. Paul Beatty's been a nice big for Farmington. Meanwhile, for Dixie, you've got a really talented squad for Coach Roberts and what he has continued to build as a substitution timeout being taken here for Lone Peak. And Herriman, they'll have an earlier, well, not an early game compared to today. They'll tip tomorrow at 4 o'clock and play the loser of that Dixie-Farmington matchup in day 2 of this Skyridge tournament.
I'm really excited. I think, obviously Dixie's got talent. Alta, I'm really excited to see what they bring to the table. Farmington, obviously they lose a big-time guy from last year and Colin Chandler, but it feels like they're at that mode where they're just going to keep restocking and bringing that to the table every year. So I'm excited to see what kind of things that they're going to do this year, moving on from Colin Chandler.
The amazing thing? Imagine if Farmington was not built and that was all still like one program.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about all the talent that's at Davis and Farmington, and I know Viewmont's throwing their hat in the ring, and Kelby Miller saying, hey, we got Leighton Kidd. I mean, there's so much good basketball up there. It's crazy.
You know what we were talking about? We're at Sky Ridge High, right? We were talking about this. If you go back to before, you look at the boundaries now, Lehigh High took in everything that's now Sky Ridge, Westlake, Cedar Valley, Lehigh. I mean, just 10 years ago, all those kids were going to Lehigh, and now you've got 4 different schools that are all really competitive in their own right.
Yep.
I mean, Sky Ridge is winning championships. Lehigh's winning championships.
Yep.
Westlake's been competitive in a brutal region.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. This is Finn Spilsbury spilling one in there from the line.
You like seeing these older guys, Fotheringham's up cheering on these young guys that they're not going to get a lot of time this year, right?
Yep.
But look at that. They're all excited for their teammate.
They're all standing, cheering them on.
That's a big deal. When you're looking to build a program and get back to the things that Lone Peak's used to doing, it looked to me like Rob's doing the right stuff and getting these guys to buy in to each other.
I mean, that was the culture that existed, right?
Oh, yeah. You have to. You have to care about each other, because when you go to battles where you're not winning by 25 and you go to battle, you have to believe that the guy next to you wants it as bad as you do.
Yeah.
And that you're willing to throw it on the line to go to battle with that guy, I think it's a huge part of all of it. And so I really just like seeing that as a basketball fan, as a Lone Peak guy, right? But as a basketball fan, I like seeing that kind of stuff where everybody's a part of this thing. From 1 to 15, you're all a part of what's going to happen this year. No matter how much time you get in the games, you're going to have a big piece of this puzzle.
Late whistle here will send Blanchard to the line. Oh, my apologies. That's number 21 for Herriman. That's Jackson Hansen to the line as he makes the first one. One more here. Tough night for Herriman. Look, and I mean, the start, that second quarter just killed him. It was a 30-18 advantage for Lone Peak, building on what was a 5-point lead after the first. And while they made good pushes in this second half, it's just hard to overcome that big of a deficit in a high school game.
Yeah.
You only have so much time. And
30-point quarters. Ugh, you can't win too many giving up 30-point quarters.
Nope. 93-69, Lone Peak starts off the Sky Ridge tournament with a win. Brandon, your final thoughts on a player of the game?
I brought up Luke Fotheringham quite a bit throughout the game, and while Luke was really good, he was really good. I think I got to go with Jackson Best. To me, he's the guy that offensively and defensively made the difference in the spurts that happened that really pushed that thing out in front. And defensively, Carla Mulford's a handful, and he's a freshman, I get it, but he's a handful, and Jackson Best did a heck of a job on him.
It's a great one. Unofficially 20 points for Jackson Best as he is our player of the game. Lone Peak, 93-69, the victors over Herriman. For everyone here at KSLSports.com, appreciate, and don't go anywhere. We've got our next matchup, Dixie Farmington, tipping off 15 minutes from now.